when you went to Paradise in 2018 and you scolded Newsom about clearance and brush clearance. But there's obviously so much incompetence at every level with these fires in Los Angeles. Obviously, they have 100-mile-an-hour winds, and it's extremely dry. It hadn't rained in 8 months, and I can understand that. But there's a lot of incompetence, too. But as far as, I mean, it's amazing to me that this state, they send more than $200 billion every year to that state government, and they still can't figure out water. You still can't water your lawn in the fall when you live in Los Angeles. I lived out there for a few years. They're telling people to take short showers. They have an ocean right there, and they can't figure out the most basest things that people need with $200 billion a year.
Yep. It's not believable. Yeah. They spend money like you've never seen, like I've never seen anything like it. We're going to do things with Los Angeles. You know, I'm already putting my developer cap on because it looks literally, I just saw some very guarded pictures of it, and it's far worse than you even see on television, if that's believable. Yeah. It literally, I believe it's greater damage than if they got hit by a nuclear weapon. I've never seen anything like it. Yeah. Vast miles and miles of houses just burned to a crisp. There's nothing standing. And they're going to find many bodies. You know, only the dogs will find them, right? You know, or German shepherds will. They can pick out the ashes immediately. It's amazing. But we're going to find many bodies and many more dead.
Newsom says you're lying. You're putting out disinformation about this. He's also invited you to go see him there. You think he should resign? I think a lot of people in that state believe he should resign. Are you going to go tour this damage with Gavin Newsom like you did in 2018?
Well, this is different than 2018. 2018 was more of a, you know, it was caused by the exact same factor. It was all the underbrush. You know, when I was visited by the presidents of places like Finland and Austria and others, I'd talk about it because we used to have to give so much money, mostly to California, for the fires. And they said, we have a much more flammable tree, very good wood, but very flammable, in Austria. And they said, we don't have forest fires. And they rake their floor. You know, they rake the leaves off I think twice every year. And they rake the leaves, and they have it nice and spick and span. If you look at the trees, even now, I'm watching. I've become like an all-time expert of this. But and when you say Paradise, I looked at Paradise. You know, the place was burned to a crisp. Steel from houses. I mean, they'd have steel beams going across for some of these houses, and it was melted. It was just melted, and yet the trees were all standing. It was amazing. And the trees stand because they're loaded up with water. You know, they suck the water out of the ground, and they're wet. They're very wet. And those trees, many of those trees just remain standing. What happens is when the tree falls down, it's got 18 months before it becomes a matchstick. And you have to remove those trees because they're literally, it's like lighting a match, and they don't do that. And I said, you have to maintain your forest. I learned from Austria, from some of the countries, they said, we are a forest nation. They live in a forest. They don't have oceans. They live in a forest. Beautiful forest, by the way. You know, it's beautiful. It's actually immaculate. But they live in a forest. He said, I remember the one said that, I think it was Finland, he said, we're a forest nation, and we don't have, anything like what they have there. And we have a much more flammable tree. And I told this to him. I said, you got to clean this thing because they've never done any of it. When trees fall down, they've been down for 30 years. They're like literally you could take a match and it would catch on fire in 2 seconds. Yeah. It's terrible. It's firewood. Yeah. It's great firewood, I guess. Yeah, I assume it is good firewood, and therefore it has a value. And but they never did anything to prevent this from happening, and it always bothered me.
Do you think will that change now? I mean, are they going to learn a lesson? I mean, we just saw Trudeau's out. Do you think Gavin Newsom is next? I mean, is this going to cost him anything politically, or will California continue to go on at this very, mind-boggling, stupid pace that they're at?
Well, in terms of the forest, there's not that much to change. There's nothing left. I've never seen anything like it. The place is just desolate. It literally looks like a bomb. A massive bomb was dropped on top of them. The only thing standing are a couple of chimneys. Most of the chimneys were wiped out, too, by the way. But, every once in a while you see like a chimney standing. The place is literally, it was bombed. I can't even imagine it.
Yeah, it's terrifying. Everybody's reporting the same stories, the same spin. You turn the channel, it's always the same. But not us. We're different. We report the real news. No spin, just the facts. Turn to us, and you won't turn back.
Tune in to Rob Schmitt Tonight on Newsmax.